Hello and welcome to the Halifax Real Estate Podcast. I am your host, Jason Paul, licensed realtor in Halifax since 2017 and team lead of the Infinity Real Estate Group at eXp Realty of Canada, Inc. This podcast was created to help you understand a little more about the Halifax and Nova Scotian real estate markets. If you like what you hear, I would really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much and enjoy the show. When I was editing this podcast, I was listening back to the numbers I shared about the cost of owning a $600,000 house over the course of 25 years. Some of the numbers didn't sound quite right, so I went back and double checked, and I did get a few numbers wrong, so I want to make the correction here just so everyone's on the same page. My apologies for the mistake. I will be better in future episodes. So just to recap, $600,000 purchase is $349,000 in interest payments over 25-year lifespan of that amortization, $150,000 in taxes. That number will be higher because inflation adds to the cost of taxes, but I can't calculate that. $75,000 for Nova Scotia Power over 25 years, $250 per month times 12 times 25, $12,000 for Halifax Water for over 25 years. That's $40 per month times 12 times 25. $75,000 for oil heating for 25 years. That's $3,000 per year times 12 times 25. The total paid out of ownership of owning this $600,000 purchase for 25 years is $1,411,000. One last correction I need to make. I make the claim that from 2009 to 2019, Halifax's average price point had only gone up about $10,000. For any realtors listening who have access to our market stats on Paragon, I went back and double checked my dubious claim. If you go to the line graph and highlight the Halifax Diamond Market, it only lets you go back as far as January 2013. In January 2013, the average price point was $291,013. In January 2019, the average price point is $317,427. That gives you a $26,414 increase over 6 years, a lot more than the $10,000 I had claimed. I'm sorry for the mistakes made on the podcast. I should have double checked the map before we recorded, but I didn't. I'll be better in future episodes. You have my word. Now on to the show. It's the age-old debate. Is your home an investment? Is it better to buy a home to live in or to rent and have the landlord take care of all of the costs of home ownership and put your money into other investment strategies for better returns? Matt Legatto and I dive into the numbers of cost versus cost, benefits and cons of both home ownership and renting as a long-term tenant. And the numbers are rather shocking when you dive into them. Enjoy.
Intended.
Don't know. You fucking idiots. Idiots.
And we're live just when we start telling each other we're idiots.
Oh my God. Fresh off of credit union rants, which I can't wait to send you some clips. Anya was listening to them and was cackling. Today is your home that you live in, is your home an investment? The home that you live in, the home that you buy to live in, is it an investment? Yes or no? This is where
this is where I chime in? Okay, yes.
This is where you speak.
My personal house, yes. Yes. This is an interesting topic. I love this one, and I like that we're doing it again because the first time we screwed it up sound-wise. But you can easily argue both sides of the fence. You could easily say, if you're looking at it as strictly as an investment vehicle, as a means to gain wealth and invest, probably not the smartest thing, right? Like, you can get higher returns on mutual funds or on fixed funds or whatever. Like, there's funds and equities that you can actually invest in that will probably gain more annually than what your house is going to. And also you have the costs of maintaining a house. However, as a vehicle to generate wealth and opportunity, there is no better asset class than your house, right? And I speak from experience, buying a home 10 years ago at the price point that was available 10 years ago, to see now what I'm being offered by handwritten letters from any various realtor, putting them in my mailbox, which I love.
Love the
I love those
the door knock cards.
Door knock cards.
So
and they're just like,
are they Are they handwritten letters or are they mail outs?
The realtor ones tend to be a mail out, but I had a
Yeah.
human being write a handwritten letter one time. And it was,
Okay.
you have a school, you have a market, you have the park. And I mean, these are all exactly true because that's why I bought my house there. But it was a nice touch. And so again, when I look at that, I'm thinking, okay, well, the price that she just offered me in this random letter compared to what I paid for, this was a great investment. Right.
Right.
Now,
Right.
throughout this
No,
time
I
frame,
could.
I've been smacked with some pretty good capital costs on the house. But I think it also has afforded me, like I've recently refied the house or renewed the mortgage. You know what I mean? So when you do that, it affords you an opportunity to consolidate debts or reinvest elsewhere. So like it's a great vehicle to do those things. But if it's just, what do you consider an investment? Like, what do you try?
When okay, well, I'm gonna try and probe here. When you bought your house,
Yeah.
did you think this is gonna be a great moneymaker, or were you just buying somewhere to live?
I was buying somewhere to live. It's the landlord, the woman who I was renting from, knocked on the door one day to tell me that a realtor would be showing up shortly because she's selling the house. And I was like, oh, like not that day, but like in the coming days. And I was like, okay. And of course, at the time, she's like, do you want to buy it? And it was just off the Bedford Highway. And I fucking hate myself for not doing it. But she's like, yeah, I want like 260 grand for it. And I was like, you're out of your mind. Uh, Turns out, eventually, I think it did sell years later for like four something. So jokes on me. But so it was an opportunity at the time where I was like, okay, well, I don't want to keep paying what I was paying in rent. It was like $1,500 plus everything. So I was like, okay, let me start looking at houses. And so at the time, pricing was fairly reasonable and it made sense to buy because it lowered my monthly costs. And then I was like, hey, I have an asset. This is a good investment. It's mine, yada, yada, yada. I'm not paying somebody else. I'm paying myself. So all those same anecdotes that everybody always says to buy a house, that's all what ran through my head.
Okay, but you weren't thinking that was like a cash vehicle, like this thing's gonna trip like 3x in equity.
I mean, like you got to be, y- y- you're lying to yourself if you buy a house and you think that it's going to triple in a few years. You're either lying to yourself or you're so full of shit, your eyes are brown. Like nobody can predict the future like that. You know what I mean? Like, so like, it's not wise to just go into something like that and be like, oh, this is going to triple. Like, sure, maybe or not. Like, you know, if I
Uh,
felt at the time the value of the home for what I was paying for it was intrinsically there. It
right,
was
right.
I was
So
talking, there
you
was a
felt
new
like
roof, there was
they're
new
asking you,
windows,
yeah,
new furnace. It had a detached brand new garage. It was in a great neighborhood. There was a liquor store right a walking distance from the house. And I was like,
cue detail.
oh, right. So for me, I could see the value for what I was paying for it. And in my head, part of me was like, what's there, I can't see the house going down in value, right? Like I feel
Right.
like where I'm at, it's an actual true representation of the value of the house. Should it go up? Great. Did I ever see that I'd be getting handwritten notes on my door for 600,000 like 100 or 10 years later? No. But do I feel good when they come? Yes.
So you didn't buy for an investment. You bought just to live in, and it just turned out that
It was good
over
timing.
time,
I was stupid
yeah,
lucky with timing, like stupid lucky with timing. The rates were low. I was a single guy, single income, just me and the dog. I was able to pull it off. And it was just, I was lowering my monthly payment. I wasn't paying rent anymore. Right. So I was just like, giddy up. But I never thought that, oh, in 10 years from now, I'm going to be sitting on no. Because again, 10 years from now, the price might go back to two. Fuck, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I feel like it
you
won't go
better cancel that
below.
refinance then.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I feel
better
like it won't
find.
go below where I'm at now, is where I'm at.
I will. That's different than me. We bought our house strictly as an investment, strictly, and we bought peak market. January 31st, 2022. The peak of the market was February 2022.
But you don't know the peak of the market is January 2022 until January 2023.
Well, I did, yeah. So fast forwarding here, I was like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Damn. Right. And
Time that horribly. But we knew, because you're gonna hate this, but the house was on for, 200, 230. I think I've said on the podcast I bought it at 230. 230. Four houses down, 450. Ah, easy.
at the same
Easy
time.
money.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it sold. The one down the road sold for 450. So I was like, great, easy. And you start comparing, because comparables, I know you love that word. It's do a kitchen, a bathroom, flooring, paint. Turned out to be much, much more
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
than
It
I went
always
out.
does. Those.
But at the time, you're like, 50, 60 grand puts me at, you know, 290, somewhere in maybe 300 the most, and I'm up 150.
Yeah.
Easy money.
Yeah.
Easy money. And it did work out. Like, we got lucky, not because the market kept going crazy, but because someone decided to buy next door, knock it down, and build up a brand new McMansion.
Yes. 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 I've
You've
seen this
seen it.
place. Yes. Yes.
You've seen this place.
Well,
And then they
and
sold
then that's
theirs
the
at
thing with me. Like I only really started noticing that it was turning into a good investment when the neighborhood started to sell, right? Because I'm in a fairly
yeah,
like established neighborhoods, older crowd. Usually it's the first people that own the houses. And then things start turning over in the neighborhood and I'm like, holy fuck.
look at these prices.
And
Hey,
then,
you know what?
and
The
development in the
neighbors,
area, like it was all going for me. And so like, and then like I got a development behind my house and everyone's like, you must be upset. I'm like, are you serious? It's a high-end developer. They're going to be beautiful. Like
right,
it's just going to be
right,
better for me,
right.
right? Like, so it's great. Well, good and bad in a sense too, right? Because I'm sure the city will pick up on that, and property taxes will come in just in line. But yeah,
It,
it
that kind it kind of happened for us too. When I remember when they called me because they knew my in-laws were looking to move down here, and they were like, "Hey, if they're thinking about buying this, like they can buy next door to you guys for," it was like 1.18 million. And I remember being like, absolutely no chance. Like there's no chance. I bought my house at 230. Like there's no chance. And then they were like, "Do you want to list it?" I'm absolutely not. Well, why not? I just don't agree with your price. I don't even, I can't even sign on to this. Like I just, like, you're just going to hate me, who is your neighbor, when your house doesn't sell and you're going to see my car in the driveway thinking, why is he home at 2 p.m.
I get
on a
listen.
Tuesday? Like
I
you're
got to give a shout out to the realtor I used at the time. She was amazing. Still is amazing. But man, I put her through the ringer because like we looked at like because at the time when I bought the house, market was such that everybody was selling and nobody was buying.
yeah.
So for like
Yeah.
3 months we shopped. I think I broke the record for how many houses she walked through with one client at like 53. At a certain point,
Right.
I was just like being nosy. Like we were driving
Yeah.
to places and I was like, Mary, I'm not buying this. And she's like, I wouldn't let you. And I'm like, but I really want to see inside. She's like, fuck, Matt. And so then like when it came time to buy my place, to your point on the price, I was nailing them on it. And like, I felt so bad for her when she would go back on like, she's like, you seriously want to offer this? I was like, what are they going to say? No. Like, so
Did they say no?
they said no a lot. And then
Yeah, I
finally
bet they
we
did.
came to an agreement where they were like, this is the last time, but we'll say yes to this. So I mean, I did get it for like 60 less than what it was listed for.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I remember I was, and no hard feelings. Like we had a difference opinion on their home value. But I remember I was walking by the guy and we got along well. And he was walking by my place to the mailbox. You have to get past my place, get the mailbox. And it was 400 days on the market. And he was like, and I go, "You're at like 980." He's like, "Yeah, she won't let me come down anymore, so we're just gonna hold out here." I looked at him, I go, I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, I want you to get that number.
Just good luck.
Like, I just don't think I can. I don't think someone should pay that. Like, but like from the bottom of my heart, like you would be the comparable that I dreamed of when I go to a bank and refinance this house.
It was it was
And
it was especially fun for me afterwards because the family of the home I bought from, their family lived in the neighborhood and I didn't know that. So then after like
Uh,
the bidding back and forth,
yeah. Yeah.
then I'm like at the grocery store and I see them. I'm like, oh, didn't know this was a possibility. I wouldn't have been such an arsehole last month. But like, they're amazing neighbors. They're super nice. And we talk now and I've met the old seller. And so like, it's all great. But yeah, like you could,
Can you imagine me and the guy being like, I took 60K off you?
yeah, I did feel bad.
So, okay.
Sorry,
So two
investment.
different stories. I did buy for investment and I made money. I definitely made money. You didn't, but you made money.
Yeah.
So is your home an investment?
I can't argue that it has been for me, right? Like it's pretty clear to me that I wouldn't have had the mobility that I've had. I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I've had if the house wasn't involved, if, if I wasn't able to expand on the house, invest in the house, and do other things with the house to get to now a net worth position I have with the home. So, like, yes, intrinsically, it
Okay.
was a good investment. But, like, there's some really
Right.
smart folks out there, right? Like Ben Felix, Ben Rabideau, like these guys that'll actually get into analytics and like drive into
Like,
shred out the fucking nonsense about like flipping a house and shred out the nonsense of like not paying rent to one person, everything. It's literally based on the numbers, and like you can see reports and trends over the years where like they have done analysis to show that like as an investment, a pure investment play, there is potential and a high likelihood that there's better opportunities, right? Because like in my house, I've replaced the furnace. I've replaced the chimney. I've replaced the power twice because it got ripped off in a snowstorm 2 different years in a row. I've replaced the driveway. You know what I mean? So like that all
I
sucked.
mean, if we're talking about we're talking about replacing stuff, I replaced all the walls.
Yes,
I
yeah,
replaced
yeah.
all the
The
wiring. I
siding,
replaced all the
yeah,
plumbing. I I added all new insulation. I ripped out the furnace. I installed a new heat pump system. We
100%.
did the roof.
So like, but if I was renting, yes, I'd be paying my monthly rent to somebody else, but I wouldn't have paid the $60,000 in damage and
Yeah.
replacements on the house that I've had to pay in the years that I've owned it. Right. And now, of course, fixing all those things, well, fixing some of the things increase the value of the house. Fixing other things just maintain the value of the house. Replacing your furnace, you need a fucking furnace, guys. Like it's not going to add 20 grand to the purchase
I
price of your house. Like you just
I
need to improve
always
those.
I always love it when like you talk to a seller and they're like, I just did the roof and the windows. I'm like, that's great. They're expected to be
Yeah.
functional.
Like when people buy a house, they like a roof and windows. So like that's
You know,
kind of bare minimum.
and they're like, that brings up my value, right? No, 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 no. They're expected to
That
work. Like
justifies your value.
if
Yes,
they
it
didn't
absolutely.
work, they would be asking for money off
Yeah.
because it's expected to work.
And see, the interesting thing here now is like, everybody's getting into or like there's a large part of the population that truly believes in real estate as an investment vehicle and all these other things. And it's true. Like you can buy low, sell high, and invest in the property and all these other things. But the cost to do so and the entry point is also a factor. So if all of that being aside, if you're just purely trying to invest and you have a good chunk of money and you put it into some type of a fund that can appreciate 15, 16, 7% annually, 17% annually, that's a fucking good investment. Your house isn't going up,
Right.
I mean, houses appreciate in hot markets, but they also go down. Like
But
now,
you could argue stocks do that too. Like stocks go up and down all the time.
and that would be like equities and
Look
stuff. So
at
like they're a little
Bitcoin.
riskier. Yeah, 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 absolutely. Let's throw 100 grand in Bitcoin and you'd be laughing, right? But it's one of those things where if you're looking at it from like literally a dollars and cents standpoint, the argument could be made that your money could go further elsewhere as an investment because of the
All right.
downside risk of what the house could actually do to you when it comes to like, the roof caving the fuck in.
Well, speaking of analytics, we did analytics. We did look at this stuff, but for the first time we record this and it failed because audio sucks. 600 at the time we did it, the analytics ballpark at $600,000 average price. Seems to be where Halifax just seems to be like up and down. It's like It goes 20K up, it goes 20K down of 600K, but 600K just seems to be like the normal number now for an average house in Halifax. If you bought a $600,000 house today with a 25-year amortization, with a 5% down payment of $31,000 and $12,000 in closing costs, these numbers are rounded. Don't fucking do math and at me on comments. It would equal $43,000 in what your upfront cost would be for a 5% $600,000 purchase. If you owned that house for the entire duration of the amortization and never refinanced, never HELOC'd it, just lived in that house like you would have 40 years ago. First things first, you pay $349,000 in interest. So it's actually $949,000 from the jump over that 25-year am. You are then so I tried to get taxes and stuff over 25 years. Halifax typically runs around 1%. Like if you pay $600,000 for a house, you're at $6,000 a year for taxes.
If you're what? Fuck.
I did 6,000 times 25 or times 12 times 25 to kind of get a ballpark on taxes. And they're about 150K for the entire duration. Once again, taxes increase. HRN is
All the time.
HRN is currently debating a tax increase in HRM.
Yeah, absolutely. The
So,
brain trusts are meeting now.
so that is not correct number, but it's a generalization because that number would be higher over 25 years. Let's just be very clear. You're probably close to like 175, 200 grand for inflation in that time, but we're going to use 150. Then you go, okay, Nova Scotia power bill. Let's just go. I think this is high, but $300 per month for bill. That seems ridiculously high. But $3,600 per year, that would be about $43,000 in the lifetime of ownership of 25 years. Halifax Water, it's $30 to $40 a month, $12,000 a year. You're at about
Whoa. Halifax Water is a lot more than $30 or $40 a month.
Is it?
Do you
Really?
Are you on a well?
Yes. I'm on well.
Oh no. These chicken fuckers. You're probably, what is it, every 2 months you get a water bill?
No, I'm on a well.
No, I know.
own my well. Hold on.
Sorry, that was a rhetorical question. I think it's every 2 months that you get a water bill.
No, it's 3.
Or sorry,
It's
3
3.
months. So
Okay, I actually look at water bills for a living.
Hey, so do I when mine comes. It's my job. So I can tell you on average, and there's only 2 of us in the house, every 3 months, you're almost $100 a month in water. Yeah. And the best part.
How much water do you use?
No. Look at the bill. It ain't water.
I do.
It ain't water that they're charging me $100 a month on. I get a ditch tax. I get a tax for looking at the ditch. I get a tax for saying ditch out loud. Then they charge me for the water I use. Then they charge me twice as much to send the water back because, I don't know, they just think I'm gonna, I don't know, bust a hole in the pipe and just let it fucking drain into the yard. There's nothing more infuriating than the water bill to see that of the $300 you're being charged, 30 was for the showers. And the rest of it is for everything else.
Okay. In Halifax proper, we're talking Bedford and in and Dartmouth and in, the average water bills I see are between 100, 150. Hand to God.
Flushing toilets. I don't believe them. They got a urinal. They must have urinals in the house. No, sorry. I flip anytime we talk about pricing when it comes to government or taxes. You said.
I know you
every
do.
time we do.
I know it's just a trigger I like to push. I'm gonna still use my numbers because I don't receive a bill, but I look at other people's bills enough. Well, $12,000 over the lifetime, 25 years of Halifax Water. Also put oil, just because I'm trying to hammer home how costly this shit is.
Absolutely.
If you do buy a house on oil. $3,000 to $4,000 a year to fill up that 1,000-liter oil tank. For 25 years, $48,000. So if you add all that together, it's an obscene amount of money. So you go 349,000 for the interest. That's at 949. You add 150 for taxes. Now you're at 1 1. Then you go 43. 12 would give you to 55, and then you add 48. So add another 100 grand. And then I asked Google Gemini, I went to AI, what is the average cost of maintenance over the entire course of home ownership? So 25-year amortization in Canada. That spewed out 150 grand
That definitely sounds
over the
right.
entire over the entire course of home ownership. Because you gotta think there's gonna be a septic in there, there's gonna be a well, there's gonna be a home, there's gonna be a furnace, there's gonna be a roof that comes up, yada yada yada. So you're at you're at about oh 1 point. This is rough math. So you're at about 1.3 million for a $600,000 purchase over 25-year amortization.
And so then and then to my point earlier with the reports that these guys look at, they're measuring just that. They're measuring that in,
Right.
okay, if I rent it, and yes, I have to pay for water and power, but maybe you don't. It depends on where you rent. But okay, even if you're renting, all that extra money that you would have spent is now deployable on some type of actual asset, whether it's or investment vehicle. So fucking gold or silver or please don't be.
1.35. That is basically the number. 1.35 million.
So then the
That's
argument
what you're
is,
gonna pay.
is it easier to take that money as to rent and then to use that money to throw into some type of investment to really truly
Well,
appreciate
okay.
wealth?
I did get rents because I really want to compare this. So the average rent in Halifax, once again, Google Gemini. Don't shoot the messenger. We asked the AI. Um, Average rent is $2,095 in 2026. If you were to pay that, it's around $25,000 a year over 25 years, $628,500. Okay,
So there's the
just
house
in
price.
rent, right? No, that's we're not including utilities because I don't know. Like every landlord is different what they make you pay or what you can pay, but just assume utilities aren't in there. So add that as you will. The median rent is $22.95, so $27,688,500. Downtown living, $2,420, which equates to $29,000 for the year, equates to $726,000 is what you're paying in just rental over 25 years, the same length of time as you're owning that house for 600,000.
Yeah.
So,
Doesn't sound like
uh,
1.3 million, does it?
1.35.
Sorry, yeah. And then, of course, and if you're downtown, and if you're like me and I live downtown, I'm probably never eating at home. I'm going to restaurants every night. Probably finding my favorite
Well, hold
bar.
on. Hold on. We didn't assume lifestyle.
Yeah. No
We
lifestyle's
did
been worked
not.
into this.
We did not take into lifestyle.
When you own a house, you can't
Um,
have a lifestyle because you have to fix the house.
you're just trying to fix
You're
the
just
fucker.
trying to keep up with the house.
Okay. So 1.35 million over 25 years over 726,000 at the most expensive downtown house because that was a house for some reason. I'm going to be generous here and add 100 grand just so that 726 for utilities and costs over the years. So you're at like 826, 830, somewhere in there, which is still a $500,000 difference for
And then
owning a
so then
house
the and
versus
then the logic behind it is, okay, well then if all that 500,000 isn't a realized cost, and it's not to say that you're going to have all of a sudden magically $500,000 in your pocket that you wouldn't have before, but it would stand to reason that monthly you would have the room or the ability to like put things aside and branch off into other investments. That's where the counter argument comes from, where it's like, okay, all of a sudden
right,
if your rent
right.
frees up capital to
If you
actually put into investments that will do double digits a year in return and not single digits.
instead of putting away a maintenance allowance for when inevitably when your power falls or it gets ripped off your house in a snowstorm again, you could just simply put put it in a investment vehicle and get 8, 9, 10, 12% return year over year,
Yeah.
which then will what's that word? That word that they love in investments where they're like compounds,
Yeah.
where the investment just compounds over and over and over
Yeah.
again. And you're making a much greater return on the 500K investment for 25 years than you would on the
And you're actually
uh
seeing it happen in like in larger spots, like because the price points are getting so out of whack for like the younger generation. And the younger generation, oddly enough, now is becoming more in tune to investments and equities and
well they have
mutual
to.
funds and ways to generate
They have
wealth.
to. They have to.
They're kind of starting to figure out the game where it's like, well, if I like my apartment, I'm locally, I'm in a good spot, whatever. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to pump my money into other things that actually appreciate and compound over time, and I'll have a larger nest egg, right? And the argument can be said. Now, of course, again, I'm living proof that a house can be an investment. You are living proof that a house can be an investment. But you can't fault those that don't believe it and see it because the numbers actually kind of play in their favor.
Well, the other thing is you can also look at like you can look at it like that. You have to be good with your money and disciplined with your money because most people aren't.
If you're not going to play, like if you're not going to actively do what the plan is, then
What
yeah,
you're supposed to do.
exactly.
Yeah.
Then you're renting
Doesn't
forever
work.
and you're just spending your money on exactly eating out every night
Now,
and whatever.
you could argue like, okay, here are the arguments though. If you rent, yes, landlord pays for all maintenance, so you're not footing that bill. Your power pole gets ripped off, you need a roof done, something leaks, landlord has to deal with that. That's their cost. Um, you have you do have rent control in Halifax if you're not on a fix. So if you're on a periodic lease, ain't no landlord gonna let you have periodic leases if you're just getting a new
And your
lease.
rents, yeah, you can expect your rent to go up.
5% year over
I think
year.
our average is
Fun fact,
4.8.
I was on just side note, and I found this really interesting. I was on Reddit yesterday. Great place to live
Yeah.
and spend your time. I was on Reddit and I follow the Halifax and the Nova Scotia groups, and someone in the Halifax group had mentioned that had summarized the HRM committee meeting or council meeting, and they spent an hour and 11 minutes discussing ways to get around the rent cap or abolishing the rent cap. Just a just a PSA. It is now because the rent cap expires at the end of 2027, I believe, or is it end of 2026? It's soon though,
Yeah,
where they're
and
like,
so
we're not
how do they
sure.
what did they mean they want to get around it?
I
They put
I
it in
did not
place.
I did not go to details. It was just some kind soul just put up a summary of all like the time slots, and I was like, that's an interesting thing to be discussing. Halifax does have rent control right now, so 5% year over year, so your rent will increase. I can't calculate that. I'm not gonna fucking calculate that, but it's cool. And then essentially you have no control over your unit. Like you don't get to renovate, you don't get to redesign it, you don't get update as you please. You have no say. If one day you have to get an eviction letter that is legally allowed, you are up and out of your place. It's no longer your
And it's
home.
not your
And then
asset
you're
to
going
lend
back to market.
against. Yeah, there's no
Right.
mobility with your asset. It's like, and then again, you have to be doing in in smart investment vehicles elsewhere that you could potentially leverage and lend against because you can get investment vehicles that you can lend against, you can borrow against, whatever. But if you're not doing that, then you are into that just kind of spinning your tires in one spot and paying somebody else's, you know,
Now,
mortgage.
if you do own your own home, you have stability, growth, appreciation, go minimal appreciation, asset that you can leverage against, and debt pay down. So eventually your mortgage will go down because you owe less debt, right? If the interest rates stay the same, right? Like all those things come into play. I did ask you hated this stat when we did it last time, but I did ask ChatGPT for the average growth of Canadian home prices over the last 25 years. 175 to 400%. Just devil's advocate. If you were to apply that metric, and your home were to go up 400 or $600,000 purchase were to go up 400%, your home would be worth $2.8 million or
If
$2.4 million.
if you're gonna use that stat, go take your money to the casino and fucking have a time. Like, that's not how
Yeah,
you should not do.
yeah.
No, you should not. That should no.
I'm giving you the information that I was given from the AI overlord.
I don't have to say I
Just
like it. I don't have to agree with it
all
or
of
like it.
even if, let's say, conservatively, you go up 100%. That is 1.28. That is 1.2 million. You are, in that point, you're only in the hole $150,000, but you have a $1.2 million asset that you can loan against for liquidity to go do other investment vehicles like investment properties. That would be devil's advocate. And you have control of your property and you can never be evicted unless you fuck up paying your bills. Like, you can argue cost per cost basis. And if you're doing cost per cost basis, $600,000 purchase, 1.35 million spent, probably not the house.
Yeah.
Stability, growth, asset, something you can loan against. Also, you have to live somewhere.
I think
Like, there's an argument that can be made.
yeah, and I think for me it's like, if real estate investing is your game and you literally that's what you do, rock and roll, go for it. But you
But
shouldn't like a first time
but
home buyer shouldn't be looking at a house and being like, this thing's gonna triple. Like that's not wise. Like you should be looking at it like, okay, I'd like stability. I'd like to have this area and I'd like, you know what I mean? Like that should be probably the prevailing mentality of like,
this thing's gonna
I
triple.
want a house over my head and sure the caveat of as I pay it down I'm going to open up equity and I can do other things but like let's not be confused either. Once you have that like that 1.2 million dollar asset you talked about that's leveraged and then you're going to be able to open up more leverage. It's just like ooh leverage, right? Like it's then just becomes a vehicle to like just bury yourself more in debt, but it's like I had a client come to me and he's just like, I'm looking at this house in the west end of Halifax and it was like in the mid sevens. And as soon as he was walking through the house, the realtor's like, yeah, you're too tall for the half second floor. Blow the roof off it. $350,000 and you can up the floor and now all of a sudden you got a full second floor. And so then I get a call from my client and he's like, am I out of my mind or is that a terrible sales pitch? And I'm like, well, walk me through the steps. Like, what happened? And so he's like, but like in
Uh,
his opinion, he's like, so if I do this and I buy it for 750 and I put 350 into it, I'm a million deep into this house. And I'm like, or 1,000,001 actually deep into this house. I'm like, that is absolute math. Yes, you're right.
yeah,
He's like, well, then
yeah,
I need to sell it for more than that to get my money back. I'm like, right, you
yeah.
are. And so then he's like, well, I don't know if this $750,000 house is going to go to $1.1 million. I'm like, ah ha ha, that's exactly right. And what you should be thinking about because now maybe it will, probably, but if it doesn't, the reverse sucks. You know what I mean? Like like, so again, he's not an investor. Like he's not a real estate investor. He's looking for a
Right.
home.
He's buying for a house to live in.
Buying a house to have a home to raise a family in to like and if in 10 years it goes to that price point rockin' awesome wicked but
Which,
like
like, okay, if you're gonna argue the investment standpoint, right? I don't like your home that you live in as your house. You can look at it as an investment, I think, in certain aspects of being like, okay, I'm buying in a good area. I'm buying in a great location. Desirable. I'm safe there. Okay. I'm buying in an area that we believe will appreciate because other people want to live here. There'll be more investment in this community, and we're going to see amenities come to this community. You can look at Indigo Shores 10 years ago.
yeah
No one's living in Indigo Shores. Now it's like quite frankly, it's like rivaling Bedford and South End
I
of
had a,
like,
a guy that used to work for me, and he bought a house back in Indigo Shores back when there was like 7 houses out there. And I remember what he was into then and what he's probably got into that place now. And I just want to see him and shake his hand because like that was a smart move.
so in that regard, like you can, and like another thing you could do to like safeguard your home investment is like, okay, don't buy the best house in the block. Let's buy the middle of the pack, not the worst 'cause we're not renovators, but like in the over time, I want to update a kitchen and make it my own. Okay, well that would be worth something down the road for equity. I want to do a bathroom down the road. Okay, that would be something down the road for equity. When you're trying to buy a house as an investment vehicle, I don't think that is the way to look at your single family home that you're going to live in and raise your family in. Cause like, even if let's say you do look at it as an investment vehicle. So let's just you and me are good arguments here, right? If we were to both sell our houses now and not realize the term of this amortization, we would walk away with really good returns on buying our houses.
Yeah, I wouldn't be sad. I mean, I would the next day because then when my realtor tells me what I have to spend on the next spot, I'm going to feel real fucking upset. Um, but yes, I will be
Come to
happy.
me.
Yeah, I'll be just as mad with you as I will be with whoever it is. Like, but yes,
No, I meant like move to the valley,
yeah.
not lit,
Sorry,
not.
sorry. Yeah, yeah. I'll buy that house next door for some odd $1 million.
It's sold.
Oh, too bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, like I cannot not look at my place and be like, this was a good investment for me.
Yeah, just
Okay.
little shoulder,
You
little
know what I
back
mean? I,
pat.
I can't. And others are in the same position, but I can assure you, I did not walk into it being like, this is going to be a good investment for me. Like, no.
I think for first time home buyers, we're talking about to that market, like your first home should really be just getting your foot into home ownership. And if you want to talk about investments, like, okay, do something with a good comparable where like a good renovation, like a kitchen, some flooring, like comes into play. Did you like the word comparable just break your soul?
Sorry. Was that a visceral? That was a visceral, like, no,
Yeah.
sorry. Um, I think when you're shopping for a house, and this is a good little cue for, I mean, even for yourself, for a sales pitch as a realtor, as you're walking through a house, the client, and I did this when I did my house. And that's what I said at the start, where it was like, I was comfortable with the purchase price because I was also comfortable in the fact that I could not foresee the value going much more below where I was asking because again, they wanted a number and I was going fairly far below that. And I felt the top number they wanted was a reasonable ask for the house. But I was an arsehole and a single guy and figured less money in your pocket is more money in mine. And I like that equation. But I was looking at it too as like, what happens if the values come down? Because I have lived places elsewhere in this country where that happened. And you watch
Right.
somebody get a $700,000 house, and then a few years later, it's 400,000. So, hey, blah, things do come down. It's not just gravity that does it. So, like, you know, for me, as you walk as a first time home buyer or somebody that's looking to get into a house, besides like, the sheer, intoxicating excitement about it and like looking at places and all this other stuff, just have a flicker of a thought in your mind. What does this look like if this goes down in value? Right? Like
Right.
what
Right. Because
are
right.
you and I think that aligns with what you're saying with the investment because that's what an investor does. An investor buys low
Yep.
and is like,
Yep.
this is kind of the floor already. And if I
There's
increase the
there's there's
value, it should go up just based on what I'm doing. But it really, oh, fuck, is it going to go much below where I'm at now? Probably not because there's holes in the walls and
there
everything else. Right.
I like there's like real when you talk about real estate investing, like people there you can make it so fucking complicated with all the different strategies and all the different workarounds and all of the levers you can pull from. Real estate investing is super simple. Can I grow it in value or can I grow it in a monthly income? Those are like your two levers in terms of it. And when you're buying a home to live in, the lever of monthly income that's a loss factor. You're talking about maintenance and utility costs and everything in there. So then you're betting on equity and the value of the home going up. Now, if you buy a turnkey, move-in ready, brand new build at market value, you are living and dying by the market. Like there's no lever to pull. You bought a brand new house.
Well, that's like
You're
Ontario.
just
There's houses
and
now that are 15-20% below what they went for and what the people bought for. So now they have to
more
stay in that mortgage to ride out the wave or take the loss. So like if
and like
if part of your brain
hold
is
on.
thinking, okay, I'm buying this house and it's definitely going to go up in value, so we're going to be in good shape. Your brain better be saying to you what happens if it doesn't. Like
Do you know
you
what
got to
you know what
look
I
at
love
both
about you know
sides
what I
of
love
the
about
coin.
you? You are I know what you're thinking of when you talk about this specifically. You were talking about the fucking CMHC report we did in June,
Yes.
where it was like 71% of
It's
first-time
like
home buyers thought that
74.
their home
Like 70, like three-quarters of the people that buy a house think, oh, it's going up in value. And I get it.
is going up.
We've been trained that way since our parents had their first houses. Like, the house goes up, I get old, I sell house, give you kid my money. Right? Like that's just how the nature of
It's been.
things with David Suzuki works in this country. But it's like, if that's the mindset you're going into it, you have to be okay with if it doesn't go that way. Like you have to at least
And they're
entertain
not.
the idea that it
Well, okay,
won't go that way. It might not go that way.
we'll ask we'll ask Ontario. You talk about Ontario, everyone that bought peak Ontario 2022, they're most of them are getting the crap kicked out of them. And then you think about the numbers, like, I don't know if you've ever seen them. Do you have Twitter? Do you spend any time on Twitter? Okay. Well, there's an account. I don't know what his name is. It's Shazzy or Shammy or something. I should get him on as a guest. He is the most savage poster of real estate defaults in Ontario and bank repossessions. And all he does is he's like, they bought for this in 2022,
Yeah.
and the bank just repossessed it for this, or like they bought it at this and they just sold for this. And all that guy is saying is like, he's pointing out that the market doesn't always go up. It doesn't always rise. Doesn't always good times. The other point, though, if you're playing devil's advocate here of why you shouldn't buy a house, think about it this way: if you bought a house in Ontario for $2 million in 2022, and that is a 30% down payment, like it's a pretty
Well,
significant
yeah,
like 30.
you're over 1.5 and then it's 10% each time. And after that, yeah. So like you're not putting 5% down. You're 20.
No,
Yeah.
it's 20 25. If you go 25%, that's $500,000 down payment.
Yeah.
Okay, plus your closing costs. So the argument could be, instead of buying that house for $2 million, you should have rented and then put that in an investment and had a return. Because what's happened now is, bet you now that the house is worth because I think Ontario's down 30%. I think right now is what it's down. So now you're looking at a value of 1.4 million. So you've lost $600,000 in equity or value since you purchased. That's 4 years ago. You've definitely not paid that down in fucking payments. So you might look back at your purchase and be like, why did I buy this thing when I could have done X and not be in, like $500,000 worth of debt
Timing,
plus real estate fees because you're gonna have to sell it.
timing is everything. And it's the hardest thing to predict. Like
You can't time the
you
market.
cannot time the market, but like when you look back, you're like, fuck. Like,
The only time, the only time you can time the market realistically is if you know something that's happening in that area
I mean, like
before, like, you know what I mean?
if there's some massive like data center that's coming to town and it needs
That's what I'm
houses,
saying.
or like, I don't know, we're just coming out of a brutal recession or
Oh,
at
you
a
know what? No,
COVID or
no, I
something
got one.
ridiculous, right?
I got one. Uh, I don't know how. Like, I know for a fact that the Canadian military is looking at Greenwood and turning it into the largest Air Force base in Canada. So now Greenwood is getting pumped with people. And
And
you look at that
Digby
and you go,
and everywhere's around it.
right, right. So if you're looking at that and you're playing, like, it's going to take them 10 years to grow that thing to where they want it to be for it to be the largest airbase in Canada. Okay, play the long game. Go buy a shithole in Greenwood and just sit on it for five.
There's a guy
Supply and
there's a
demand.
guy I see on YouTube, and that's all he does in the States is like he's like all about the BRRRR, buy, renovate, refi,
Yeah.
everything else, right? So, yeah, but his thing is, when you find a happening city or spot that's got good economic activity that's going on, don't buy in the city. Go out.
Bird.
Go out
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
20, 30, 40 clicks and start buying there. And again, that's what I did, but didn't know I was doing it at the time. Like
Right. Because you bought a house to live
I
in.
bought a house out in Hammond's Plains, and of course, now Hammond's Plains was well established, but the area that I bought, it was very close to like the new section of West Bedford that all of a sudden went poof, right? Like
Right.
West Bedford was the woods when I bought my house. That's like 40 hectares now of houses and strip malls and everything else, and 16 apartment buildings. And so, like, I mean, traffic sucks, but it's good for the appreciated value of the house, right? So, like,
Now, hold on. Just bear with me here. Because the other thing you can look at when you talk about is your home an investment, is your single family home an investment? Yeah, you can equate this to that number that Google gave me too for 400% increase in 25 years. It just so happened that you either owned a house or you didn't own a house during the biggest housing crisis in Canadian history. That's just like, and you can't, that's not repeatable.
mm,
Like you can look back, because I think you bought your house 2015.
yeah, about them.
Right. So 2015, 2016. Oh, you did not know. Same with people that bought in 2019. They did not know the shenanigans that was coming down the
No,
pipeline. It just happened. If you had looked at Halifax from 2009 to 2019, I think prices moved like 10 grand
yeah.
in the positive direction. So if you bought 230, you were worth 240. And like there are always outliers. Someone bought in a really good neighborhood, did really good renovations, so maybe there were 50K or 60 or 75K more. Great. Okay, cool. You bought in South End Halifax next to Smew. You sat on it for 10 years. Your house was
Made a
more
good
money.
idea. Yeah, yeah,
Great.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So to say that like house prices only go up is because you've only experienced the most dramatic increase in home prices in Halifax's history, and to continue to count on that, I would call foolish.
Yeah. And then
Right?
that's where it's like, yeah, don't buy the house expecting that. If it happens, fantastic. You're not going to turn away somebody that offers you twice as much that you paid for the house.
You did.
Because where would I live? Like, that's the other thing. Like,
I'm
what am
just
I going to do?
I'm
A
just
cardboard
I'm
box?
just saying
Yeah.
I'm just saying you did.
It wasn't enough for me. I wanted triple. I wanted the 300%. But yeah, like don't do it with that mindset unless that's truly the angle that that you have, and like you are in that type of, you are an investor of properties and real estate and everything else. But if you're looking for a roof over your head and your first house and everything else, do it because it makes sense, because the area is right, because it's a comfortable purchase price that if it all goes up, great. If it doesn't, it's not going to bury you. And then that's where it comes down to, like, what you put down for your down payment and having that equity position too, right?
Having rented, would you rent or own?
That's a good one. I think I'd rather own. I don't like apartment buildings. I don't like the fucking, the pitter patter of people above me. And like, yeah, I'd rather own. I like having my space. I like having my
Every time you
garage.
hit the table, your audio breaks out.
Sorry.
Just a heads up.
Oh, sorry. Um, yeah, I'd rather own. Like, I like having my yard. I like, you know, cutting the grass, doing my stuff, like hanging out in the garage and stuff. I like having my space. Like,
Okay, next question, because I'm just playing devil's advocate here, right? Do you earn more or less money than when you bought in 2015? And I don't need a number. I'm just curious. Is it like how much more? Like, is it a lot more money? Is it less? It's you know what I mean. Like, how much more money do you earn now than you do in 2015 when you bought your house?
probably 50% more.
Okay, 50% more. If you had stayed in your apartment and she had not sold it, and or say you found a rental, same price, $1,500 a month per single family home on the bed or just off the Bedford Highway, do you think you could live in that house that you do not own and take your 50% additional income and just go pump it into investments?
I could, but I can't guarantee I would.
Right.
right? Like
Right.
the other thing too is like when I went and bought the house, instantly 50% of my monthly bills were gone because the mortgage was less than my rent,
Yeah.
right? So like I went
Okay.
from paying close to 2 grand a month to paying $1,000 a month, right? I was like, the dispensable income all of a sudden would have not necessarily been there for those years that before I got into this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it would, and I can't guarantee that I would have been that. This is going to be a good word here now. That responsible fiduciarily. I don't think I would have been that smart with my money. Like, I mean,
I can tell you right now, the best thing I did was buy because there's no chance in hell.
yeah,
There's no chance.
I just,
There's no chance.
because even when I lived in Alberta, we always had the joke that we were making more than we ever made wherever anywhere else we ever lived, but we were all still living the same type of a lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have more
Yeah.
dispendable income, and then all of a sudden you just buy more stupid things and go out more often and order. You know what I mean? Dinners and food, and oh, I'll take the bill for the whole table because why not? You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I would just to me,
100%.
I'd rather have the house, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For me too. I'd rather the house. And like, you know what? Say the house doesn't go up in value at all. Just say there's no equity gain.
If there's no equity gain, at
Stable.
least at the end of it, it's still mine, is my thing. It's
Right.
mine, right?
Right. Even if you pay $1.35 million
Well,
over 25 years.
yeah. But
It's
I
just
would
you,
prepayment
you
privilege
know
the
what
shit out of it, though. Like, I'm a big guy on
you know
prepayment privileges. Like, you should be taking advantage of every prepayment privilege that your bank offers. It accelerated biweekly, you should be doing that. Full stop. First out the gate, that should be a must. Every year on your renewal date, up it. 10%, 15, 20, whatever they allow, do it. And you will not be spending that much money in 25 years. You will not take the mortgage the distance. You will pay it off in a fraction of the time. And so then that becomes the strategy. Like if you know, yeah, if you stay for the whole duration of it, it is grotesque. You're at $1.3 million. But the likelihood that you're going to actually pay it religiously for 25 years and not pay it off in probably, 15 years or 10 years, if you do it right, it saves you a lot of
much
stress,
easier.
right?
Right.
And then that helps you weather the what ifs, right? Because my big thing was I
Yeah.
wanted to put the money down on it as quick as I could. And then if anything shifted or anything changed, at the very least, keeping pace or staying ahead of the wave,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And yeah, and you would do and once again, like at the end of the day, like because my point was gonna be even if you have no equity gain, you have debt pay down.
Yeah.
So you will always have something to loan against. That like you can look at that 600K and be like, I'm paying, $349,000 in interest. The truth is once you pay off the 600K on the house, like you do have at minimum 600K. Like you're gonna get that money back. Like if you sell, you can't sell the apartment, but you can always like let's just say this. Let's just say 50% like increase in your equity. So your home was worth 900K and you've paid off. You own for 25 years, you paid off. You may look at the numbers as a douchebag, I think so, and be like, "Oh, I'm down 400K because I didn't make a return because I spent all this money." Or you can look at it as like, "You know what? I'm gonna make 850,000. I'm gonna have $850,000 cash after I sell this place, after real estate fees. I can go buy my next place cash." So as I downsize, like when you rent, you do not get that opportunity. You do not get that privilege of at least earning a good portion of what you've paid back,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That is, and that's another big thing that like when you're making this argument, being able to have debt pay down just in the fact that when you sell it, because you're gonna move again, hopefully, that when you sell it, you do see it's not that you see a return, but you see the money that you put away to pay down this debt come back to your pocket. And it's gonna be a pretty bad market or a pretty bad time if you do not get your 600K cash back from what you paid in the mortgage.
Yeah. And
Everything else I can't.
just be smart with the asset. Like, don't buy that. If you're not a real estate investor, you're not buying an investment, you're buying an asset, you're buying a property, you're buying something that's going to be yours. Be smart with your asset, right? Take advantage of the things that make your asset the most efficient that it can be and the most valuable to you. And then, you know, if everything's going in your favor, you're going to be doing really good on the other end of it. If you don't want to do that and you're just like, well, I want to be a day trader and I'm better at this and I think I can make more returns elsewhere. Okay, then probably renting is better for you because you're going to free up that other capital that you and I spend on our house. And if you're responsible enough and you can dump it into those things, you'll probably gain more as an investment than I might over time with my house because you never know. I may see a massive correction in housing prices here, and all of a sudden the house is back to what it was when I paid for it, right? Or whatever. But it's you just have to be
You
willing to look
you
at
and
both
I are
sides of the coin.
you and I are both in agreement. Like we'd rather be homeowners.
I'd rather be a homeowner. I think mine for me was a great investment. It wasn't planned to be an investment, but it just worked out to be a really great investment. Um,
Mine was, and it was awesome.
I knew I was investing in myself in a sense because it was going to be mine. So like that part was like, okay, great. Because even if it's not the asset, it's something for me. Um, but I would not, even if I sold the place tomorrow and I go into another place, I'm going to be going at it in the same mentality. You know what I mean? Like, is this price reasonable? Do I think there's an opportunity that this actually isn't the value that this truly is, besides what you're telling me the comparable is down the road? Um, but
I can't wait to have those conversations with you.
oh,
I can't fucking
we go
wait to have the conversations with
the day
you.
you take me to a house and say, but a comparable, oh, bad day,
I
bad day.
will I will tell you what, I have never used a comparable to sell a house. Never. The only Actually, that's not true. For investors, I have, because that's what
Yeah,
matters. It's a good comparable.
yeah.
For a client, it's, "Do you like the house? Are you gonna be happy in the house? Don't fucking call me in 6 months telling me you're gonna hate the house." I'm not doing that.
And they do it too, like,
Anyway,
you buy the house, what's your goal? Is your house to own a house and, like, have that stability and live in it for a while? Great, right on. But if your house is like, "I'm gonna try to soak as much money out of it afterwards," okay, now you're starting to look at it as an investment, you're going down a different road.
yeah, if you're looking at it as an investment, like, maybe just buy one with a basement apartment
Be
and just
strategic.
start
Yeah,
just start your foot in the right door.
yeah.
Just start your foot in the right door and be mindful of what your goal is with this, quite frankly, this box. Because there's different targets, there's different goals, there's different buckets, different people. I don't know, like, the numbers sound horrible, 1.35 million versus
And that's all, like, worst case,
850,000.
right? That's just if you spend it if you take it to 25 years and well, the
Right.
government stuff is definitely almost solid because like, they're definitely gonna raise those things, but, you know.
Right. Right. But it's just showing you what the numbers actually are. All right. I'm good. Appreciate your time. I need you to stay on the line
Yes.
for a minute. All right, sir.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Always. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. You can find our content information in the show notes. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks again. Bye.